This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29 and 18, and it reads, "And I will persecute them with the sword, with the famine, and with pestilence, and will deliver them to be removed to all the kingdoms of the earth, to be a curse and an astonishment, and a hissing and a reproach among all nations, whether I have driven them." Call Allah Bashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakodash, giving all praise, honor, glory to the Most High Power of Israel, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the 12 tribes scattered, double honors to mighty men, the elders, and the apostles in the community, waking up the lost sheep in these last days. Peace and blessings to everyone doing this truth and slack, it's truth and humbleness, sincerity. Again, I'm going to say Shalom. It's your brother Yahsai coming at you on the video. We gonna come out of a couple of books. I want to deal with the one I showed on the screen yesterday. If you guys remember, we gonna dig into this a little bit. This one here, okay, it says the last slave ships, New York, and the end of the Middle Passage. So we gonna read a bit from here today and bring out some precept, some scriptures, and we'll wind it down. Okay. It says the last slave ships. Let's hit the classic in Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. Of course, I have to bring that one out, right? And it reads, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you." And again, that means no one's going to deliver you out of this condition except Christ. And this is going into the deliverance of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Okay? That's what that's going into. So let's there's a page in this book. Let's see. I want to show y'all some of the images as well, coming out of the last slave ships, New York, and the end of the Middle Passage. Okay. One moment, family. But before we go into the reading, there was some maps in here showing what passages went. And what's unique about this book, you know, the scholar John Harris, he's either a so-called white man, or he could be one of those confusion of faces Israelites. I mean, when you look at the image, he do look like a so-called white man, but remember, it's not on outer appearance, it's a bloodline. But it's dealing with the slave passage. I'm going to show y'all this. Okay. Y'all see that? Take a good look at that. And when you go into this type of history, you know, the so-called Israelis, they're gonna run into a brick wall every chance, because we know, and they know, this never happened to them in World War II. And they don't have a leg to stand on when you come into this history. But I'm only dealing with those that want deliverance at this point. I'm not really trying to reason with the wicked that want to get hit with nuclear destruction, slacking, when that time be made manifest, okay? I'm not really dealing with them, but you know, these lessons are chiefly for those that want salvation, okay? There's a lot of our people jammed up in the ways of Babylon, your baseball, NFL, all that witchcraft, man. Okay, they jammed up into all the ways of Babylon the Great, and just like the time of the flood, the exact same scenario is going to play out leading to the destruction and the exodus of the 12. Okay, we're going to read. I want to come out of page. You know what? Give me a second. One moment, family. We're going to read page 15. It says, the United States and the slave trade before 1850. It reads, most nations turned against the slave trade during the first half of the 19th century. Despite being the largest carrier of enslaved Africans, Hebrews, during the 18th century, Britain struck one of the hardest blows. A popular abolitionist campaign led by religious and political reformers forced Parliament to ban the British traffic in 1807. And that's dealing with this trafficking. You know, you see this bullshit, especially in Port Authority and other port-related areas throughout Babylon the Great. Okay, talking about some damn human trafficking. And meanwhile, historically, your white supremacists led the way with human trafficking. And now I know y'all on this East Coast, especially here in New York and New Jersey, here you get on a damn pat train, you got the so-called white woman crying, talking about she a victim of trafficking, and it was white supremacists that led this human trafficking by way of his slavery. Mr. White Man. So don't come at us with that nonsense in these last days. While this famine and plague is already whooping your ass. And that's the Most High getting back at you. And now, you know, as they do so often, they want to play the victim. It makes no sense. You're going to be the victim when that nuclear missile comes. That's a guarantee. Okay? From the top, most nations turned against the slave trade during the half of the 19th century, despite being the largest carrier of enslaved Africans during the 18th century. Britain struck one of the hardest blows. A popular abolitionist, a popular abolitionist, if I'm saying it right, campaign led by religious and political reformers forced Parliament to ban the British traffic in 1807. The British were not the first to permanently end their trade. The Danes abolished theirs in 1803, and Haiti effectively did the same in 1804 by abolishing slavery. But British abolitionism had especially far-reaching implications, forcing Britain's growing self-conceptions as liberators and eager to dominate legitimate, next page, 16, global commerce. Success, British government internationalized their abolitionist campaign dramatically. Okay, when you read pages 15 and 16, this goes into the trade of all the European nations here. Okay, we're going to jump down to the last paragraph on page 16. It reads, the United States was still a young republic when it also took action at the turn of the 19th century. Although North American although North American partaking in the slave trade or in the trade had always been limited compared to that of other regions. That's a damn lie. Let me read on. I won't go off. It says, although North American partaking in the trade had always been limited compared to that of other regions, Rhode Island slave ship owners and planters in the South Carolina and Georgia, known KKK states, right, had been strongly tied to it during the 18th century. Yet the trade came under increasing criticism, particularly in the aftermath of the American Revolution, although there was no mass abolitionist movement as in Britain, a peculiar correlation gradually emerged in the United States. Okay, it says a peculiar correlation gradually emerged in the United States. Some opponents, mainly in the North, where slavery was already marginal, objected to the traffic of religious and economic grounds. Okay, when you really further that, I say these so-called white people, y'all the biggest hypocrites in the universe, man. Y'all pretend, of course, in 2022, they give us what it is, critical race theory. But meanwhile, the history shows not only y'all a bunch of damn hypocrites, y'all try to play politics with the people while y'all were actually collecting trillions of dollars of wealth, man. Okay, that's just the end all be all. And today they tried to hide this history, but it's just too much history out there to get on your own. That's if you want it. If you want deliverance, when the smoke clear. If you don't repent now, those seeking, answers. Okay, this is really the end all be all in these last days. So everyone jammed up with the ways of, America and Babylon, this Babylonian system. Okay, a great judgment is coming, and it's coming quickly. Okay, I'm gonna jump the page. I wanna read a quick little sentence in page. I believe it's 60. One moment. It's page 63. Give me a minute. Here it is. We're going to read page 61 and a short paragraph in page 61 and 62. Coming out of The Last Slave Ships by John Harris. It says, by the early 1860s, the maneuvers had prompted a former U.S. Africa squadron officer, Robert Shudfeld, to claim that the false ownership of U.S. vessels was giving immunity to the combined rationality. It says rationality of Christendom. Okay, now let's deal with that. Give me a second. Let's deal with this whole Christendom thing, because I think that's more so going into, the brainwashing of this thing called what we know as Christianity. Here it is. Christendom. The worldwide body or society of Christians. And that's not dealing with the 12 tribes of Israel. That's dealing with this cult known as Christianity. And shout out to GMS Camp, man. They ripped them apart in a recent video. He had circus clown Geno Jennings talking about Christ and the Father one. And mind you, all the Israelite community combating that serpent. But the brother did a video, and I'd say, wow, the precepts reigned by the hundreds, man. Confounding everything Gino was saying, talking about God and the Father one. But the precepts that came out said otherwise. So Christianity is confusion. It's gross confusion, and that's with bold letters. And it's satanic devil worship. That's confusion. You got a man that's clean shaven in a damn business suit. Okay, the Most High, I brought this out many times. If it is Most High not even dwelling in those places, you go to 2 Corinthians 6, 16, 17, I believe 18, and there's not count in the book of Acts. Okay, the Most High not even dwelling in there. So that's just confusion. But two parts of our people, weak-minded, okay, simple-minded, they believe anything, man. Especially dealing with the Vatican and that darkness that's being pushed out to the masses. Okay. Let's read Christendom again. The worldwide body or society of Christians. Okay. And this not dealing with, notice it don't say the Israelites or the Hebrews. It just says the worldwide body or society of Christians. Yeah, when you have shrimp, crab, pork, they getting ready for Halloween. They prepping up for all these demonic holidays that's nowhere found in the scriptures, man. So how they gonna promote Christendom? Here I'm coming out of the last slave ships, and now at the end of the world, they're trying to pretend it never happened, right? They're literally trying to say this never happened. And it makes no sense. Because they can't, like I brought up in my recent video, they can't get around why all these plagues and viral diseases is coming out of nowhere at vast numbers now. And y'all know why. Because America did away with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They gave you Caesar Borgia. Caesar Borgia, when you go into the history, that was an actual man that was huge with your so-called Sodom and Gomorrah community, if you know what I'm saying. He was real big on that. And he was a murderer, by the way. And, you know, when you go into the Borgias and the crime family, they were a crime. He come out of a crime family. Okay? That's what that's going into. They didn't give you a 7-candle menorah. They gave you a cross where they allege some so-called white man died for all nations and all people and all kindreds of tongues with no understanding of where that's going on when you read the scriptures. Okay? I mean, keep it basic. You had a split in the kingdom, okay? Northern and Southern Kingdom. The Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom. You go to 70 AD, didn't the Romans ransack it and we were scattered? That happened. And while we going into, you know, a little brief on the last slave ship, so I didn't really get a chance to read the whole book. I'm just, you know, taking some parts out. But while we're dealing with slave ships and slavery, right? Let's come out of let's get the classic from Babylon to Timbuktu. Most Israelites should have this in their arsenal. Okay. This is a classic for the community. If you're teaching, you definitely need this one in your arsenal. Let's read page 84. We're going to read the second paragraph out of page 84, and it reads, in the years 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD. General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of military governance of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. This dealing with the fall of the Israelites. Okay. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves, not white people from 1948. This is dealing with Negroes. Okay, it says the slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. The next smaller paragraph reads, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the from the one end of the earth even to the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And that's chiefly going into religion, Christendom, some damn white man, Caesar Borgia, an imposter son of man. And then you have Islam, you know, that's the copper stone. Of course, we remember during the lockdown, the copper stone was covered with hornets, like all types of hornets, like covered it up, right? It wasn't hornets, Slocky, it was locusts. Like I said, it's just, that's a religion. And, you know, my question, and, you know, when you go into that, when you combat the Muslim, and it's true, even the Quran tell you the Israelites are the chosen. So that's just another form of confusion right there, because when you go into the Quran, there's no end time prophecy for the people. That's like the Egyptologists. There's no end time prophecy in the Black Book of the Dead. There's no end time prophecies in that. Okay? Those are all fables to keep God's chosen asleep. Okay? But the worst of them all is your Christendom, Christianity, okay, devil worship, sun worship, Nimrod worship that goes on every Sunday in America, and it's practiced every day to worship the devil. Be lawless, okay, go to Red Lobster every day of your life and eat every abomination under the sun without reading Isaiah 66:15-16. It makes no sense. That's why the famine, plague, pestilence is on this planet right now, setting the stage for Exodus, this final Exodus that's soon to come. Okay? Next paragraph, coming out of From Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph Windsor. This prophecy and all the residue of the prophecies contained in Deuteronomy 20:15-68, okay, befell the black Jews after they disobeyed the laws of God. Many nations transported the Jews into slavery. Okay. All right. And the sons of Israel transmigrated to every continent, meaning they were pushed to four corners of the earth. They were made slaves wherever mankind dwelt. Okay. Back to the Negroes in Hiroshima. Hey, you can watch both of those. You can listen to both of those videos, man. You had a conglomerate of Jake working in Japan in that time. Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Okay, you had a lot of Israelites there. Okay. But they weren't just there. They were scattered throughout the world. The saddest thing with that, it's our people, you know, we all been taught Pearl Harbor was just a punchline. And you gotta wonder with that story these days. I'm gonna fall back though. You gotta wonder about that whole thing. Because when you fast forward to 2000, there's no way I'm gonna believe. New York City, we talking about the world's financial engine in itself. Okay, New York City brings in trillions, quiet as kept. So there's no way I'm going to sit here and believe the financial capital of the world put his guard down and, you know. Now you had follow-up videos, you know. The best one that was banned from YouTube, I believe. It was banned off social media. It was called In Plain Sight. Okay? Everyone, all those FDNY workers, I never forget, I watched that video a couple of times. When they were running before the building collapsed, they said each floor sounded like, bombs were going off. But it's funny, everyone that got caught in that collapse when that happened, they're all dead. Very few remain. This thing called, I can't even say it right. I can't say it. I'm trying to get that to come out correct. It was some type of cancerous disease. I can't pronounce it, but most drop dead from that, unfortunately. But that narrative, you can't believe that narrative. And even when he had the Operation Enduring Freedom, but they shut down Saddam Hussein and found a van with some dry chemical containers. They had ice and so on and so forth. Moving on, I'm going off. I'm not buying that garbage. That's all I'm saying. That's a bunch of crap. But back to the lesson. It says, from Babylon to Timbuktu, Rudolph Renzo Marie, page 84. In the fourth paragraph again, it says, this prophecy and all the residue of the prophecy is contained in Deuteronomy 28:15-68. Befell the black Jews after they disobeyed the laws of God. Many nations transported the Jews into slavery, and the sons of Israel transmigrated to every continent, meaning it was scattered across the four corners of the earth, as it's written in the scriptures. This heritage. Okay. And they were scattered with violence as well. Okay. Leviticus 26:33. Let's deal with that. Out of the scriptures. It says, and I will scatter you among the heathen, and will draw out his sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste. That happened, man. And, we still under this curse, man. We seeing the violence. You see the violence on this planet, man. It's getting very bad out here, man. So it was like that in the times of Noah. Okay, so the warning signs of the end is here, man. We'll keep moving on. Jeremiah 9:16. I will scatter them also among the heathen, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, and I will send a sword after them till I have consumed them. Okay? And that consuming is really going into the mind. Because if you ask the so-called Negro in America who he is today, you're going to get a lot of different answers, man. A lot of them say I'm black power, I'm the original man, I'm the Asiatic first man, all these weirdo answers, and they can't really prove it coming out of this heritage. The Most High, okay, you got the common 18 nations, okay? Which one are you? And these so-called white people, okay, your Israelis in power, your elites, they don't even call us Hebrews. They call us bywords. They don't even refer themselves as Hebrews. They refer to themselves as Jewish. But when you go into the breakdown of the word Jewish, it means pertains to. Okay, and I did recent videos. Okay, they're rabbis and their own encyclopedia. They tell you they come from Edom. So we have a problem in these last days, but only the chosen's going to come home. Like I said, I'm doing these videos, okay, for those that want real salvation. Real salvation is keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's it. There's nothing, okay, there's nothing else to run to in these last days. Why everyone bamboozled by the fantasy world of America, it's going to be taken by sudden destruction, man. The rest of the world is really preparing for this global phenomenon, a world war that's going to turn nuclear. The other heathen nations, they know about the coming of Christ. They're well aware of that thing. You know who's not aware of it? 2 parts of our people, man. They idiots. You ask them, or you tell them, or you inquire about the end of days, they'll be the first one to tell you, "Oh, America coming back, man! I can't wait to get my life back." With an image of Dr. Fauci in their forehead, with the next thing to hurt their bodies with, believing every lie given to them. That's the sadness of our people, man. They believe anything coming from these wicked suits, man. Okay, moving on. Ezekiel 12 and 14. And I will scatter toward every wind all that are about him to help him and all his hands, and I will draw out the sword after them. Okay, and that's this curse on Israel. And that sword, that's the gun, your police killings, okay, your Eric Gardners, okay, your George Floyds. Those stories are endless, man. And when you go into those stories, okay, your Buffalo shooting. Remember that? White supremacists shot up the Latinos and the brothers. And I always bring out, I've yet to get an answer from one of you so-called white people in this country proving me cops and white supremacists attack so-called Israelis in America. Show me the proof. I'm still waiting on that evidence. It's never going to happen. The closest you will get is World War II. That's the closest you're going to get. That was overseas. Here the Israelis get trillions in reparations when you really go into that. Set up over the people. Meanwhile, the Negroes in America are completely forgotten. But our reparations coming on this final Exodus. We're going to get our reparations. Because you can't put a price tag on the blood shedded on us anyways, right? So-called white supremacists is game over. And sadly, it's going to be game over for two parts of our people that want to love them. I'm always bringing this out. Want to integrate with them. Okay? Integrating brought in the flood. And now this integrating now. Have a nice life. Watching them ICBMs come at you sooner or later. That's all that's going to bring in. Okay? So for those that want this truth, you got to keep the law, statutes, commandments, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the power of Israel, the savior of the nation of Israel in these last days. Not white supremacists, man. Not your American government and their wicked allies. They're all about to be destroyed. Okay? Now moving on. Luke 21 and 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captives into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Yeah, you had a white supremacist takeover. Okay, your whitewashing, your iconoclasm, all that wickedness they did, it's coming to an end now. As you can see with the global international news, that's only getting worse. So the best thing for the Negro, the Latino, your so-called natives, all the people of the diaspora, is to inquire the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Who else gonna save you from nuclear destruction? Because this government won't. Okay, but moving on. We're gonna read let's get the classic. Let's read James 1 and 1. And it reads, James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Jesus Christ, Mashiach Yahushua, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. Okay? So everybody wasn't scattered. So you look at it, what's being taught in Vatican by way of, the circus clowns leaders like Agino Jennings, okay, your vocabs. They'll teach you it's a utopian ending, but none of them has yet to prove that in the Bible. Okay? None of them can prove God changed. I brought that out many times. That's Malachi 3 and 6. Okay? Link that with Jeremiah 30 and 7. They can't prove in the Bible that everyone turned into the 12 tribes of Israel. They can't prove it, and nor will they ever prove it. Because that's the BS they teach, okay? All these Sunday churches out there, okay? All your apologetics out there, they teaching you a false doctrine that the creator of heaven and earth, he changed. That's what they're literally saying. But can they prove it with the heritage that's before you? Can they prove it out the Torah? Can they prove it out the heritage in that 1611? They can't prove it, okay? But you notice they're combating us. They're trying to label us as the scary boogeyman group that's out to get so-called white people. We okay, Slakia. We telling you your judgment. That's the most we doing. But when Slakia, when Yahweh, by way of his son Hamashiach Yahushai, and the host of heaven cracked them skies open, it's going to be game over for you in that day. Okay? But we have to bid the marriage and give a damn with your pseudo Slakia. Your racist media psyops think about guys like Yahusab Israel, all my brothers teaching in the camps worldwide. Who gives a damn what y'all think? And as I said in a recent video, taking us out not going to stop the judgment day. It's coming. That's going to be the greatest day of all, to see you sorry white supremacists get put down forever in that day, man. Off to slavery, and when that kingdom's built up, extinct forever. Since y'all want to push lies and fables 24/7. It's only a fair judgment, right? Let's carry on with the scriptures. Let's read Ezekiel 11:16. Therefore, thus said the Lord God, although I have cast them far off among the heathen, and although I have scattered them among the countries, yet will I be to them as a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come. Okay. It says, yet will I be to them as a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come. Okay. So I think when you go into this, it says little sanctuary. That's probably going into the remnant coming back, because you know when you go into the history, when you read the book of First Ezra and the Apocrypha, a lot of the history is right there. Israel went left, and the Most High cast us away, man, for not keeping the commandments. You see our people, man. When you read the fall, when we had immortality, when you go into Genesis, we gave that up. And it's been a downward spiral to the point where the Most High had to just cut himself off, at least to the end. He said he would come back to us in the end. Okay. But let me find that in the Apocrypha that I went there. Let me see if I can find that account in First Ezra. Because our people still go off now. They say they love Hollywood, they love wickedness. Our women are extremely wicked, the men too. But Eve, man, she just got this thing against the men of her people. She just got this extra internal hatred against men. Okay? So we know Eve rebelled. She rebelled on something that was real easy when you go into Genesis. And a lot of these women in America, they feel that way towards men. Okay, but when Christ comes, he gonna shut that down. This alpha woman, the super big mouth Negro woman, okay, I'm this mighty woman, all this nonsense that Eve pushed. I'm gonna rule over men. Well, good luck when the skies crack open. Try a big mouth in the Most High on that day by way of his son. And watch what he do to him. You're gonna shut him down. What master? Since they, their strength is from master anyway. That's who give them the he give them their strength by way of their positions and power, judges, directors, all this stuff that they get. They feel they more dominant than men. Keep believing that nonsense, man. Okay, first Esdras. Let me see if I can get that account. Maybe in first Esdras 1. Trying to get that account, family. Give me a minute. Salakia, I'm coming. Oh, it's in second Esdras. Salakia, it wasn't first Esdras. This is the one I wanted. Second Esdras 1 and we're gonna read 1 and 22 to about 24. Okay, it reads second Esdras 1 and verse 22. Thus said the Almighty Lord, when you were in the wilderness, in the river of the Amorites, being thrice and blaspheming my name, I gave you not fire for your blasphemies, but cast a tree in the water and made the river sweet. Okay, I was dealing with Israel after the first Exodus, dealing with Pharaoh. That's what this is going into. Verse 24. What shall I do unto thee, O Jacob? Thou Judah wouldst not obey me. Yeah, because niggas are wicked. That's what this is going into. So he had to punish us. Going on. Moving on. I will turn me to other nations. I will turn me to other nations. And to those will I give my name, that they may keep my statutes. Okay, he gave it to the heathens, man. Now we know when you read further into this, the heathens didn't keep he gave them a chance, but they didn't really keep the commandments. That's okay, Isaiah 40:17, 2 Ezra 6:54 to 56. They didn't keep the commandments anyways. Okay? They went off too. 25, seeing you have forsaken me, I will forsake you. When you desire me to be gracious unto you, I shall have no mercy upon you. This is when he cursed Israel. That's what this is really going into. Okay? So, that's an account. It's second Ezra is the first chapter. Because Israel, and like most I say, only a remnant's going to get delivered. From our hard times coming out of slavery to these last days, only a remnant is going to be saved, family. Okay? Let's carry on with the scriptures. I'm going to wind down. But on this whole slavery topic, the slave ships. It's always good to bring this history out. I shared these images a long time ago, coming out of Machetes. I'm gonna wind it down. We're gonna come out of this book. Just a couple of images. This is another good one to have in your arsenal. Okay, it's a good piece to have in your arsenal. I'm just gonna show the image here. These were the conditions, man, of God's punishment on his people. And the so-called Israelis, man, they can't prove this was them. They can never ever prove this was their condition. But this was the condition, okay, for the Hebrew Israelites, your so-called Negroes, Mexicans, Native Americans, so-called, all the children of diaspora. That happened to us, man. So I don't give a damn about some white supremacists saying we some damn hate group, and the only thing we're doing is waking up our people. Give a damn about that. I give a damn about waking up the people that want salvation so they can go home. And going home would be this exodus that's going to be made manifest, especially when these nuclear missiles begin to fly. Because America's so damn wicked. Like I said, I don't believe America would even give an announcement. They rather you watch NFL highlights, okay? All the goofery that America promotes to keep people asleep. They'll do that. Let's say when that thing happens, when that thing is made manifest, that's gonna be the end of America. And it's a question, a lot of you Negroes, you simple-minded niggas out there, excuse my language. Excuse my tongue. Slakia. A lot of y'all should be asking, if America's about to get hit with ICB and nuclear missiles, how the hell are you going to escape that? So only one way out, man. Keeping these commandments. Keeping these commandments is the only way you could be saved from that. It's not going to be some quick walk into the kingdom as these liars teach every Sunday. It's not happening like that. We're going to be saved in it's an account in Acts, and there's an account in Peter. It's going to be through much tribulation entering the kingdom. That's what the Most High say. So this road, this narrow path, this is the only way. This is the only way to get salvation in these last days. I'm going to pull some more precepts before I wind it down. Joel 3:3. It says, and they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Okay, you link that with Psalms 83, I believe. Yeah, the nations will confederate against God's chosen. When you go into this witchcraft called Christmas, they were selling a lot of the gifts in the ancient time. I say ancient Slakia. In the times of slavery, a lot of the gifts were Negro families to the racist white supremacist families. Just spreading, breaking families apart. From New Jersey to Texas, okay, from New York to Georgia. As I said, this book, The Last Slave Ships, New York in the Middle Passage, it's a good read, but it's very hypocritical for white people to say there was, when you go into it, unlawful slavery going on. And meanwhile, all of them will benefit from it, okay? So they're just a goofy sight to see in these last days, most of them. Not talking about them that's Israel, because you got Israelites that look like white people. I get that. But them as a nation, I always bring this out. Shrimp, crab, pork, all the abominations which is in the Torah, go into Leviticus, instead of obeying what's written, they do contrary to. Okay, and you see how the continent is. Construction workers apparel galore. What the hell is that? And all they knew is to be a deviant and promote whoredom and all manner of wickedness. That's all they promote, man. And get drunk all damn day. But our people want to do that too, so hey. That ICBM, it'll be here shortly. Okay, and that'll be the judgment. Just like them 5 cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, America gonna get hit with the exact same fate. It's gonna knock this region off its foundation. That's soon to come. That's why I'm trying to warn those that's caught in the ways of America. If you're this diaspora, come home, man. Come home before it's too late, because doomsday is quickly approaching. Okay. Let's read the classic and Baruch. Baruch 4 and 6. You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because you moved the Most High to wrath, and you were delivered unto the enemies, man. And when you read this and you check out what's set up in 1948, they rule the world and they make money. Okay? They're dominant people. And those are so-called white people. Okay? They don't meet these curses, man. The Negro in America meet the curses in this heritage before you, man. And that's just the truth. We are the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Don't give a damn if some KKK don't like it. Them and they stupid media. Always trying to frame us while they doing all the killing and poisoning of this planet Earth. They want to put it all on us, though. You kidding me? We got to teach until further notice. That's what I'm going to do. So, let me read. See if I want to bring out any more Slakia. Let's read Deuteronomy 28:56. It says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the soul on her feet upon the ground for her delicacies and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil towards her husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter. Okay? Slakia. It says, Deuteronomy 20:56, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter. Okay? And this is going into the curses on our people. You go into Eve, and it's two-sided. I like to single out Eve. And two parts of our people, they wicked, man. That's just what it is, man. They the mission. Christ, remember, man, I bring this out often. Christ died for the nation, so imagine us doing his work, man. I know my story, man. I hate to bring this out, man, but I pray for them sisters, man. That storyline there. The Most High, he protecting the brother, man. But that is sad, man. But I don't want to go off topic. Just dealing with our people it could be a mission sometime, man. But they are the mission. You don't want to be too mean. You do your best to grieve with them and teach them, but like the elder from GMS said, man, you get beamed up and watch this place burn at the bottom, you ain't gonna worry about it in that day. You're gonna be crying to the Most High, just thanking him you got out of this real-time nightmare, man. It be like that dealing with our people, man. So one brother said it best, we worse than the heathens, two parts of our people. We worse than the heathens, man. That's how wicked we are when we want to be, man. So I say only a remnant of the 12 tribes of Israel is going to be saved. Only a remnant, man. Okay. Isaiah 3:5, and the people shall be oppressed, everyone by another, and everyone by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, and the base against the honorable. And that's also dealing with the curse of our people. Okay. Isaiah 51:20, thy sons have fainted, they lie at the head of all the streets, as a wild bull in a net. They are full of fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy God. And that's just going to the unfortunate ways of our people. Like wild bulls, man. And only a remnant, only a small remnant is going to get it right in these last days. And the rest, unfortunately, they walk in charcoal, man. Straight up and down, man. The rest is walking charcoal. Okay? See if I get a couple more. Let's get the classic in Isaiah 1 and 3. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master crib, but Israel do not know, my people don't consider it. Now people rather, okay, they'll rather get jammed up on sporting events, movies. You know, your best life now. How's your best life now? It's about to get burnt away. Brought that out recently. America is it's a burning castle, man. The best thing that happened to me, family, was coming into this knowledge, man. True story, man. I'll never forget that, man. Elder passed away recently. It was from my job. He introduced me to the truth, and almost 8 years later, man, I'm 7+ years in the game, man. 7, actually, going into 8 come next year. I thank the Most High every day. That's all I have, man. Okay, so this is it. This is the road to salvation. I know what I wanted. I'm going to end it with this. Let's get the straight gate, man. Let's get the classic, man. The straight gate. So I want to share that little history with y'all, but there's more to come if we be the Most High. Let's get the classic. Here it is. Matthew 7 and 13, man. The classic, the legend right here. Enter ye in at the straight gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leads to life. Few there be that find it. I'm going to read this again, because any of y'all that reject this truth, like I've been teaching, the brothers, the camps, they all want it, y'all. We want it worldwide before this thing really crashed, shut down. Okay? It's going to do it. Slocky, we expect some type of insane calamity to hit before our deliverance. And he ain't going to have this exhortation videos no more. It's going to be too late. So repent or be nuke food. That's just what it is. Okay? Matthew 7 and 13. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leads to life, and few there be that find it. Okay? So Israel, be strong in the Most High. Keep the law, statutes, commandments. Keep the feast days, the high holidays. Keep your Sabbaths. Do your best in these last days. Until we hear that glorious trumpet, Most High, it'll be in this lifetime. It'll be in this lifetime. Most High will. Okay? And with that, give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High power of Israel, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Double honors to the mighty men, the elders, and the apostles in the community, waking up the lost sheep, the house of Israel in these last days. Peace and blessings to everyone doing this truth and humbleness and sincerity. Israel, I love y'all. Kwame Yashala. What we got next?